person saying some very crazy and outlandish things. This is mental illness, schizophrenia at play, and you should ignore them.
This week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me and my.
It looks like Erika Kirk has finally reached her breaking point with Candace Owens, and she's no longer willing to sit quietly while Candace drags her name into every new conspiracy theory making the rounds online. For months, people have noticed Candace escalating her claims about Charlie Kirk's passing, suggesting shadowy political forces were involved, and even hinting, without evidence, that Erika and government agencies were somehow tied to it. Erika chose silence at first, but after Candace's most recent outburst on X, she's decided to speak up and push back. The situation exploded when Candace publicly claimed that she had been contacted by a supposed insider in the French government who allegedly warned her that President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte had ordered an assassination attempt on her, supposedly involving foreign operatives and connections to previous tragedies. She tied Charlie's name into the story again, suggesting there was international coordination and that American officials were aware but silent. Candace even alleged that this wasn't the first time the French leadership had supposedly tried to harm her, building her narrative around political tension and online rumors she had been pushing for years. A major point of escalation came after Candace repeatedly promoted an old, debunked rumor about Brigitte Macron's identity, treating it like groundbreaking evidence even though French media and officials had long dismissed it as false. By mid-2025, her commentary had grown so intense that the Macrons filed a lawsuit in July, including multiple defamation counts and claims tied to identity-related misinformation. Instead of easing up, Candace went straight to her podcast and acted as though the legal action validated her concerns, doubling down once again and framing critics as people who simply didn't want to admit she was right. Throughout all of this, Erika had stayed out of the public feud until now. After Candace's latest posts, Erika is reportedly stepping forward with her own receipts, not to attack Candace personally, but to challenge what she describes as ongoing falsehoods and harmful narratives that have gone too far. With tensions rising and both sides publicly fed up, the situation has turned into one of the most heated back-and-forths the internet has seen from them yet, and fans are bracing themselves for what might come next.
Candace is unhinged. Brigitte Macron won for defamation. Well, that's no longer a thing. Because guess what? The journalist that she went after, two of them, they beat Brigitte in court.
In the podcast clip, she escalated things even more, insisting she now had what she called her strongest evidence. She argued that there were supposedly no wedding photos or images from 30 years ago proving Brigitte's identity, continuing to frame the long-debunked rumor as if it were a major revelation.
Medical exam at this moment, just some photographic evidence that you existed for the first 30 years of your life. That would be great. Maybe wedding photos. I assume you took tons of wedding photos. Can we see who the maid of honor was? Just proof that it was you. I feel like we're not asking for a lot. How about school photos?
So at this point, there's been so much back and forth that most people already get the gist. But things escalated even further when Candace began claiming that instead of settling their legal issues in court, the Macrons were supposedly trying to silence her entirely with the help of international operatives and even approval from the US government, claims that many people immediately questioned. She then added another layer by implying that Brigitte Macron's family history was suspicious, posting multiple messages insinuating that her lineage might trace back to secretive or controversial origins. She referenced well-known historical programs from the post-World War II era and tried to spin them into a modern theory, suggesting without evidence that this was some massive state secret. Naturally, the comments lit up with people calling out how extreme and far-fetched the theory sounded, with many pointing out the absurdity of imagining world leaders coordinating covert missions over online rumors. But Candace continued, insisting that she'd been told financial transactions tied to assassination attempts were running through French systems and urging people in France to investigate. When the French government didn't respond publicly, she framed the silence as proof that her claims were accurate and insisted she had names, evidence, and more details she couldn't yet reveal. For many observers, that was already far past the line, but for Erika Kirk, it seems to have been the breaking point. It wasn't just that Candace was making dramatic international claims. She was repeatedly dragging Charlie's name into the narrative, suggesting government cover-ups and conspiracies surrounding his death. Candace had been posting nonstop about how she believed there was some grand federal plot behind everything that happened to Charlie, arguing that authorities took over his case too quickly, that they withheld information, and that the public could have solved it if they had been given more details. Even after officials announced an arrest in the case, she maintained that the suspect hadn't acted alone and implied that online communities or underground groups were connected. She even claimed that she skipped Charlie's funeral because she supposedly had intel warning her of danger. All of this, piled together, appears to have pushed Erika to finally speak up, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. From complicated grief to nonstop conspiracy posts, the situation has spiraled into something far bigger than anyone anticipated, leaving the internet watching closely to see what happens next.
There is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying but anybody can go to it? You just buy a ticket to the event, and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she shows up and posts it on social media. Nope, actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. I'm going to listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now.
It didn't take long before she began throwing subtle shade at Erika, implying, without offering any real evidence, that Erika might have been connected to the same forces she believes were responsible for her husband's death. The suggestion raised eyebrows immediately, as many felt she was crossing yet another line.
Full control. I would hope she's in full control, but I don't know because I'm hearing some stories about donors that are pushing things. I'm hearing about the pressure that's even happening with planning this event.
And that's when things really took a turn, because Erika suddenly found herself being dragged online after some of Candace's posts seemed to subtly push people in her direction. Commenters began leaving messages suggesting Erika might somehow be tied to a bigger plot, with some even pointing out how strange they felt it was that Erika hadn't publicly mentioned Candace or invited her to anything, considering how close Candace had claimed to be with Charlie. But Candace didn't stop there. Only days after the funeral, she began insisting that Tyler Robinson, the suspect authorities arrested, had been set up and was not responsible for Charlie's death. This came right after Erika had publicly spoken about forgiveness during her funeral speech, which made Candace's claims even more jarring to many people. Candace went on to say that she believed Tyler's life was now in danger and that she had received urgent information from a source she couldn't identify. She repeatedly told her followers she had verified the details and hoped they would trust her, even though she offered no evidence. She also insisted Tyler was not at risk of harming himself despite rumors circulating online, and she pushed back against reports claiming his father had turned him in. According to her, Tyler had never even been to the UVU campus, and she dismissed the blurry image circulating as not being him at all. She argued that the federal government was withholding the truth and misleading the public, claiming the only accurate detail they had shared was that the weapon belonged to him. Candace continued by saying she believed she was being targeted and even mentioned creating a dead man switch that would automatically release information if anything ever happened to her. She framed the entire situation as a matter of personal safety for herself and her family, insisting that the information she held was too important to stay hidden.
I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us to sue us.
At this point, it's clear that Candace's nonstop posts have created major trouble for Erika Kirk, and now it seems Erika is preparing to push back in a serious way. According to online chatter, Erika is considering releasing information that she believes will challenge the credibility of Candace's recent claims. While none of this has been confirmed, the speculation alone has the internet spiraling, especially because some people think Erika intends to argue that Candace's behavior fits patterns commonly associated with extreme paranoia or distorted thinking. Commentators have pointed out that many of Candace's recent statements revolve around the belief that powerful groups are plotting against her, which some people online compare to well-known psychological phenomena involving fear of persecution. These comparisons don't diagnose anyone, but they've fueled a wave of debate about whether Candace's dramatic narrative of international plots, secret operations, and coordinated government efforts could reflect exaggerated interpretations of events rather than evidence-based conclusions. If Erika does share whatever information she's reportedly holding, many think it could significantly impact how the public views Candace's theories moving forward. The situation has now moved far beyond normal internet drama. Both sides seem convinced they hold the final piece that will expose the other, and neither appears ready to back down. Meanwhile, fans are divided. Some believe Erika is simply trying to defend her family and correct misinformation, while others suspect a larger effort to undermine Candace's credibility. A few supporters have even argued that attempts to dismiss Candace's claims are part of a broader tactic used against public figures who raise controversial accusations. With tensions rising and both women appearing fully committed to their positions, the conflict is now heading into uncharted territory. One thing is certain, whatever happens next is going to be